Hey.
Oh, hey.
It's Wicked Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday.
Wickedly Wednesday.
Welcome to Wednesday, kids.
Yes.
I'm Amy.
I'm Kevin.
And we are Wicked Paranormal. And we have a really exciting guest tonight, and I can't wait to bring him on. But for just quick second.
You can sneak peek. He's which way?
Yeah, I mean, he's here. He's already here. Now, let me go ahead and start off by saying, rest in peace to the Dark Prince.
Yes.
That was a tragic loss the world had yesterday. Ozzy.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of my favorites.
One of mine too. And I remember seeing him I saw him at the Fox.
Really?
Yeah, I saw him at the Fox Theater in 91, 92. And then I saw him in 93 at the what is it now? It used to be Coca-Cola Amphitheater.
Lakewood now.
Now it's Coke. I don't know. It was Lakewood. There was Coca-Cola.
Yeah, it was Lakewood.
Now it's something else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
An amphitheater out here.
In Atlanta, south of Atlanta. So, that was kind of, So rest in peace. Also, just, quickly, let's, Annabelle.
Oh.
Yeah, Annabelle. And, that's been some. I was going to get a snack and maybe to distract her. We have a cat visitor tonight too. She may take the whole show. She's walked on the laptop a couple of times. She does that to me while I'm working during the day too. So,
oh yeah. But Annabelle.
Annabelle. Annabelle. We'll get to that in a minute because maybe we'll bring him in for that.
He may have some good stories.
So let's let me talk about you. Tell me, you had anything ghostly going on in your house right now?
Yes.
Tell me.
Tell
me.
Voices still mimicking. Not as prevalent, but they seem to be sometimes longer, where it's like 2 and 3 and 4 words. One of them, and now that I think about it, there was another one that happened to me this weekend where it was like a whisper, and that's new. So, and it was like right beside my chair.
Where?
Yeah, actually, couch, but I was sitting on the couch and it was like, hey. And I turned and I was like, okay, we got a new voice.
Yeah, well.
And of course, me being an investigator, even though it's my own house, it was like, okay, if you're trying to get my attention, can you do that again?
I got a mirror in the back room you can take with you.
Take home? Yeah, why not?
Let me give you some more haunted furniture.
Yeah.
I'd love to give it to you.
Yeah, well, apparently they found a good home. So as if my house wasn't haunted enough, now I've got the ones that were here.
I wanted to share.
I appreciate it
because there's a lot here,
and apparently they're happy because they're very talkative.
And apparently it is enough because now I don't know if we talk, but now my wife has heard the TV people.
And I screamed for the TV for Alexa to turn off the music.
It wasn't Alexa. It never is Alexa. Because she's like screaming. I mean, she's in the bedroom like screaming at the Alexa, and Alexa's like,
"That's not me."
And she's like screaming. But yeah, it's I came in. I was outside the other day, like picking tomatoes, and came back in. And I swear I heard her go, "Honey," and I was like, "Yeah," and she's like saying nothing. And I was like, "What?" I am like, "I can't hear you. How many times do I have to say? If I'm in the back room, I can't hear you when you're in the front room."
So you're getting off
of the house. Yeah, I'm getting all like.
She getting sassy. And I'm like, and I just let her because I was like,
I'm standing back here with the aquarium. The aquarium mount makes that sound, and I'm like, I can't hear you. No, it wasn't her. but that's the usual around here. But I was finally, she heard the noise to the point where she had to talk it up when we were in Harriman this weekend. Um, she was hanging out at the pizza place while I was working at the hospital, and she she was telling the owner's wife, it's a husband and wife that own it, but she was telling Jody that about the TV people, and Jody went up to her house and came back down with a sage stick. I'm like,
here you go, dear.
Yeah, and I'm just like, listen, who I am and what I know, you don't always throw sage at it. It's nothing bad here, but I personally don't like sage. So when I die and somebody wants me to leave, if you come waving sage at me, I'm going to stay even longer. I hate the way it smells. So I'm just going to be like, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay just like that.
Yeah, and endure the smell that you don't like just because you're pissed.
I will. And I'm going to be like, see, it doesn't work. Because that's who I'm going to be as a ghost. The paranormal investigator becomes a ghost, and I'm just going to be like, you know what? That's really cute. You have those toys on the floor you want me to play with? Mm-mm. I've got better plans. I'm not going to make your lights go off. I'm going to say rude things to you on your evening. I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to knock your stuff over. I'm going to be like a cat. I'm going to be like a cat, but in ghost form.
Oh, cool.
I'm just going to be like, you know what? I really don't
Didn't
like
she
that.
kind of already that?
Let me clear the table.
I thought so.
I am.
Yeah.
I do come in.
You don't have to wait till you die. I'm just telling you.
It's true. I do come in with that kind of energy. Is there anything I can eat here? No.
No
right.
snacks.
But you know what? No snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Helping me as a ghost. So.
I mean, she was having a whole conversation that she couldn't hear me, and I was sitting in here going, I don't know why she's having her a moment. Because I hadn't said a word.
And on our newest edition of We All Know Amy Talks in Her Sleep, and let's see what she's talking about this week. Okay. Apparently, I've been talking about feet, toes, and Chex Mix.
Feet.
Yeah. No,
feet, toes.
It was toes, feet, and Chex Mix.
Yeah.
Really? All as part of one sentence?
Yeah, and that's all she said. And I said, huh? And
sometimes I sing. Sometimes I hum.
Yeah.
I mean, I have whole conversations. And, certain people, like Jeff will try to talk to me. Like if we've been, if we're at the crew room or whatever, he'll try to talk to me when I'm sleeping. And I don't think that, I think she said, what are you saying? But I don't think you can actually communicate with me unless you're like in the dream.
No. Okay.
But sometimes I wake myself up talking and I'm like, oh my God, what am I even talking about? And then I'm like, just go back to sleep, Amy. You're a weirdo. Okay. So yeah. Another thing I want to say is I wanted to, because I said that, but Dan Rivera. So rest in peace to Dan Rivera. Dan Rivera, he was one of those that was taking Annabelle around. He was one of her handlers, for lack of a better term. And he died suddenly. Wow. But let's just go ahead. I'm getting sidetracked because it makes me this doll, like I got a whole thing with dolls. But tonight I'll just go ahead and bring our guest on so he can talk with us about this. But tonight we have Brandon Gayheart, and welcome to the show. I found you on TikTok and started watching your TikToks, and then I found you on Facebook, and that's just the way it goes. But so I'm so excited to have you here tonight. First of all, how did you get involved in all this? You tell some really cool stories, and I want to know what got you involved in all this.
Good question. I'm not sure, to be honest. I've always been fascinated, caught up in the paranormal my whole life, and I've been in law enforcement now for over 2 decades. And which, again, about the same time I started. Thank you. It's about the same time I started doing paranormal investigations.
Mhm.
But as far as social media, TikTok goes, I credit that to my best friend, Mr. Zach Hall. Zach he's been on numerous TV shows, producer, camera guy, personality, the Expedition Bigfoot, Dirty Jobs with Micro. Oh man, there's too many to name, but he's currently the number 3 guy on Mr. Beast's production team. You know, Mr. Beast, the biggest YouTuber in the world. But he just encouraged me to get in front of the camera. I don't like being in front of the camera or seeing myself or hearing myself. But a couple years ago, not even really knowing what TikTok was, I just took a leap of faith, and here we are. So
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You-
Yeah, and it's good to get to talk to you because every so often I'll get a clip of yours sent over from
Me.
You got to see this one.
right.
So when she told me you were going to be on, I was like, oh, cool. So yeah, it's definitely, a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
We are paranormal investigators. And I thought for sure I was going to have one in my lap. But we're paranormal investigators. I am a tour guide, chaperone at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, which you did say was on your bucket list. So you need to come see us. And also both owned by Ronnie D. He owns both hospitals.
And if you come down for one, you got to come down for the other.
Oh, absolutely.
Just saying.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're both so different, but
very different, but both have very interesting history and their own. Oh, we got to drop by. Very different hospitals, but in different spirits. But you South Pittsburgh gets something. I get something every time I go there. I've been completely alone in that hospital. I've been screamed at in that hospital alone, and then started sweeping in a zigzag.
Yeah. Oh, he's law enforcement. He knows all about sweeping in a zigzag pattern.
Oh yeah.
Sweeping in a zigzag pattern.
The ghost can't get you if you sweep like this.
That's right. Exactly.
I was like, well, I didn't know where to go, and I knew where it had come from, so I decided to face that way. But I was trying, to get to the other side, so I swept backwards in a zig like a serial killer. I said, but I don't really know how serial killers sweep.
Probably in a zigzag pattern.
It makes sense, right?
No,
It makes sense.
Sure.
It wouldn't be in a zigzag pattern.
You don't think?
No.
My wife is social work, so she knows about
Yeah.
30 years in CPS.
Yeah.
I retired.
CPS.
Okay.
But now, were you interested in the paranormal before you became a police officer? Is it something that you, as a child, were interested in, or?
Yeah, I mean, I had my first experience when I was 4 years old, and then later on when I was a teenager. So I was always interested in it, and but when I started in law enforcement, the police department is more or less it's a city police department, but the entirety of the city is pretty much a college campus. So you're more or less like campus police. And this campus was super haunted. Like the buildings, we had to do walkthroughs of the buildings, lock them up. And upon doing that, a lot of stuff started happening. So that really got me going in head first.
Yeah. Yeah, my college was super haunted too. So, and what's funny is the police officer that had our campus, he and I got to be really good friends because of it being haunted.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of funny that you said that.
Right.
So, yeah, I took her up to show her some of the stuff that I told a story one time on the show. Hopefully I don't tell it again on the show. But had a Ouija board incident that took place over 3 days.
Oh, wow.
At my college campus, and it was like the most terrifying. And I still after
Just a few minutes ago, I showed him the TikTok that you just did a few days ago about the Ouija board, and I showed it to him. I'm like, oh look.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. I don't mess with those anymore. I learned my lesson.
No.
See, I don't. They don't. There are many of them around my house. I don't use them, but you see what?
Yeah, we're having cat activity.
Menace. It's paranormal.
Paranormal feline. But yeah, that was by far the most, I don't know, convincing evidence, even after 20 some years of investigating, was, it was so much so that another, I don't know, star of the story, for lack of a better way to put it, key ingredient to the story, she moved to Minnesota and became a paranormal investigator, and I came back to Atlanta and became a paranormal investigator. So it was, there was no doubt in our mind after that. But
sure.
So, yeah, and being in some of the buildings on campus,
No, I know that feeling all too well. Yeah.
So yeah, what are some of what is, because you cover a lot.
Oh yeah.
Where do you think your primary interest lies? In because you do Bigfoot, you do a little bit of everything. Well, what's kind of like your favorite area?
Well, it's a good question, and this is where I differ from most people, especially in the paranormal world. So I'm a devout Christian. That's the core of who I am. And I try to approach everything through a biblical lens, scripture, and so to me, the paranormal, I believe, is demonic. And I don't believe my personal experience and way the scripture means to me. Like, I don't believe personally that when people pass away, they linger on earth. I think it's demonic entities manifesting as people. And so that's the core message that, I tell ghost stories, Bigfoot stories, Dog Man, Mothman. But even when you get into the cryptid side of things, I think the same, to me, that same rule applies. I just believe the demonic forces are much more at work and prevalent than what people think.
Yeah. And I can definitely respect that. I think that varying viewpoints or varying beliefs it's a personal level anyway.
Right.
But I think that's what makes the world such a wonderful place.
Right.
And so, if you have soup with one ingredient, your soup's going to suck.
Yeah, and that's what I say all the time. I don't, just expect everyone to believe as I believe. And when you have different minds, if everybody thought the same, it'd be a boring place. The world would be.
Well, we'd still be throwing rocks at stuff if
right. So, I'm not just closed minded where I just shut people down and don't listen to them. Like, I welcome it, because I'm not perfect. I'm not right about everything, but I base this on my own personal experiences and what I believe to be true. I don't try to force that down people's throats. I tell people, hey, this is what I believe. I respect whatever you believe. We'll, two heads are better than one, or 10 heads are better than one.
Right. And that's exactly how you started your statement. This is what I believe.
Right.
So, yeah, and the cool thing about, especially when you're investigating the unknown, is by saying none of that matters, I don't mean to say that the belief structure, the faith structure is what I'm saying doesn't matter. What I'm saying is none of that matters when you get to the nuts and bolts of it.
Right.
In other words, if you see a Bigfoot, if you see a spirit, that's manifesting in front of you,
right.
If you see whatever, that's the takeaway. How you got there and what you feel it is.
Right.
I don't want to say it's irrelevant, because it's not. But what I'm saying is you've gotten to the pinnacle.
Right.
So deal with what's there,
mm-hmm.
because, 30 people are going to have 30 different beliefs about what it is.
Right.
But none of those beliefs, right or wrong, take away from the fact that you're seeing a Bigfoot walk across a field.
What do you think Bigfoot is?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What do you think Bigfoot is? Do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the TV show Expedition Bigfoot on I believe it's on Discovery Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good friends of mine. Mr. Russell Acord's a really good friend of mine. I've been on investigations with him, and my friend Zach Hall, who I mentioned a moment ago, he was Russell's cameraman for the first 3 seasons, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. And, and I have sat down with those guys because I didn't get into the cryptid side of things until the last 2 or 3 years, maybe. And, I'm like, guys, look, seriously, the camera's off. Is it real? Is it fake? And these dudes swear. I mean, they're not caught up in the woo factor. Everything you see is a Bigfoot or hear, what you hear. But there's something out there. Now, my personal belief when it comes to Bigfoot, that it's possible there is a biological, hairy, bipedal, super hyper intelligent creature who's very elusive. That's possible. Some type of primate, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the flip side of that, I think that maybe you do have these real flesh and blood Bigfoot, but you also go back to this spiritual, demonic side of things where, because you from reputable people like PhD doctor people who have claimed, yeah, I seen a Bigfoot and he went through a portal. He was here one moment, then over here the next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything flesh and blood that can do that, if that's true. So I think these entities can also manifest as Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman, whatever, if, they choose to do so. So, yeah, there's something. What is it? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
No.
And to define interdimensional, I mean, what's the dimension we're trying to define?
Right.
And so is it like a more of a demonic thing? Is it more of a, who knows how many flipping dimensions are out there?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's not far off, honestly, from, just the blanket statement of, interdimensional.
Right.
And so yeah, I personally think, although I've seen some footage, matter of fact, on the show that you're talking about, where they're showing, that in between the investigators, well, there's the investigators and then a creek and then a like a bank and then a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the lights and there's nothing moving in front of them, but you see a bipedal, thing
right.
walking across there. And it's like, okay, their lights are on them.
Right.
But they're not making the shadows because there's who's holding that. So what the hell's making the shadow?
Right. Yeah.
And so when you see stuff like that, even though I think it's biological, I'm like, okay, but that falls right in line with some of the interdimensional, arguments.
Right.
And so, yeah, who the hell knows?
Good question. Yeah, it's weird because I'm actually leaving. That's why I threw this. I apologize for the mess. I'm leaving in the morning, going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee this weekend. I'm a speaker at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. So a lot of interesting theories down there. This is my 3rd time going, and you have people who are all about the woo factor, out there stuff, the more analytical, scientific minds, and that's great, because like I said, if we all thought alike, this would be a boring place. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of an interesting event. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's this weekend that you'll be up there?
Yeah, that's I'm going down tomorrow, but it's Saturday the 26th, I believe, in Gatlinburg.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I wish I was going to Gatlinburg now.
Yeah.
Were you?
Well, I mean, at the beginning of June.
Yeah, you missed the convention though. I could go shake his hand, be like, dude, thanks for being on the show.
I did see a bear. I didn't see Bigfoot, but I saw a bear.
You saw a bear?
Same.
At the roller coaster place.
Yeah, you got to watch them roller coaster places.
Oh, yeah.
That little bear.
So, of your stories that you tell, what are some of your favorites?
Oh, good question. You know, a lot of them come out of the Smoky Mountains. And that's actually when I started TikTok. When I started telling stories out of the Smokies, that's when it blew up. You know, that's the most visited national park in the U.S. But, you know, if the Smokies are one of the most like paranormally charged places in the country because you have ghost stories, you have Bigfoot stories, Dogman stories, Mothman stories, and feral people, which
And
isn't
feral people. The
and
feral
feral people.
people really freak me out.
Yeah, same.
More
And
than
you know, and you know some of those stories, and I can't validate them. I can't. I've never seen a feral person. I've never seen Bigfoot, but some of the stories that I hear are the ones out of the Smokies are some of the ones that always stand out the most. But you know, I've heard stories from everywhere. You know, oh man, there was a creepy one out of Texas, a haunted Elmo doll in New York. I've literally done thousands of these, so they all kind of run together. But
Elmo's creepy enough as it is.
Elmo?
yeah,
No, I have an Elmo doll that was my daughter's, and it would say her name, but it I don't know. I don't
It
know
came
that it
to
still
life.
works. I don't know exactly where it is at this very moment in time, but
Thank God.
That's
Yeah.
probably
it's just like no, it is not the TV people. The TV people are something else.
And for for you, in case you haven't heard what
That's my
what we're
term.
referring to when we say TV people, but also for the listeners that haven't heard that yet, TV people refers to, especially as investigators, but now she has it
I
in her
just
house.
gave him a name.
It's when you go to sleep at night and you had left the TV on, how you hear the TV all night and then you wake up and it's like, damn, left the TV on all night.
Yeah.
Well, there's voices and sounds that
Sounds like the TV's on. You
it
can't
sounds
hear what
like
they're
the TV's
saying.
on because you can't necessarily pick out words, but
Right.
it's just like somebody left the TV on.
She
Right.
hears music.
It
more.
sounded more to me more like music, and I was like trying to name that tune, and I couldn't quite
You can't.
hear it good enough to name it.
And that's what he's heard. He hasn't
Yeah.
heard the voices. You've only heard
I've
here.
heard-
You've heard the voices here, or
No,
just
I've heard the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I hear the voices and the music. So, but I've been
Wow.
here longer, and I work here, and I'm here all all
But
day.
I've only heard them in our bedroom. I've never heard them outside of the bedroom and close to where we have Alexa. That's why I kept screaming for Alexa to
And
stop.
where did you hear it? In the hall?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. See, I've heard it in the back, and now I haven't heard him in Zach's room.
How often are you in that room though?
Not a lot. So
Yeah, this is where I'm at almost.
yeah.
If I'm here,
or
I'm
in the
pretty much
kitchen.
right here.
I don't typically hear him in the kitchen though.
But yeah, from
I don't
here
know
it
why,
was
but
there.
yeah, that's what it sounds like, and it's sometimes it sounds like it's coming from the attic,
Right.
and unless there's some sort of weird like
Toy.
homeless man living up there. There's no toy. It's not a toy. It's not making that. It would sound like Elmo if it was the Elmo. Well, you're just creepy now.
Well, I was thinking poltergeist when you said TV people. You know, they're here. Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
I'm
TV
with.
the TV people. That's like my favorite movie.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
got
So I'm
me
glad we
into it.
clarified then. Yeah, because I realized that we have like little key or toy terms or I don't know, favorite terms that we
Yeah, the TV people.
and that one can be really misleading. But yeah, it's the first time I heard it was an old plantation that we investigated. And we slept there that night. And I woke up and was mad that somebody had left the TV on in the other room and got up and went into that room. And of course, it's a restored plantation and there's no TVs in there.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, did y'all have a TV on in here last night? And they all looked at me like I was an idiot, of course. But I heard it clear enough that I knew the TV was on.
Right.
And yeah, so but of course no TVs there, so that's what we refer to as the TV people.
Oh, that's
So
cool. I had an instant. Well, I won't call it instant in it, and I can't say that it's paranormal for sure, but it did involve a TV. Probably 16, 17, 18 years ago. The police department we were in at the time was like an old 2-story home built in the early 1900s. Still a nice house. It was more like a house. But the upstairs we used more or less as we had some offices and a big lounge area. Like we had TV, futons. Sometimes the guys on night shift would just sleep over if they were tired and just to hang out, honestly. Well, one particular night, I've been working and another officer had got off work and he was already upstairs. And it was around 3 a.m. I go up and he's asleep on the futon. And we hadn't got our bed the frame in yet. We just had a mattress on the floor. I was going to get on the mattress. So I get down and the mattress was probably about a foot away from the edge of the wall. And I had it back in the iPod days. That's how old I am. I had an iPod. And so I'm on my knees on this mattress and I laid my iPod behind me. And out of nowhere, I'm trying to push the mattress up against the wall so my pillow don't fall off. But as I'm getting ready to start doing that, the mattress, me, and the iPod, we go flying like into the wall.
Dude.
Which, yeah, that was creepy. But, I turned around thinking my buddy was up.
All right.
But, we'd had a lot of activity in this place, so that wasn't really uncommon. But, I just kind of look around like, okay, I'm just going to ignore that and go to bed. But I did sleep with my head down on the other end so I could just watch TV, I guess, for the light. Well, lo and behold, this is weird too, but Dawson's Creek was on, and it was an episode about ghosts. The only episode of Dawson's Creek I think about ghosts, of all things. But, I'm thinking like, this is kind of weird, but it's Dawson's Creek, so I wasn't super spooked. And
right.
I go on to sleep and get up the next day, and my buddy who was in there, I was telling him about what happened. And so I was like, yeah, I lay down and just, of all the things on TV, Dawson's Creek was on. And he just kind of looked weird and he's like, Dawson's Creek? He said, I went to sleep watching ESPN. So the channel was switched, and he's a big sports guy. He was an official too. So he's like, I fell asleep. He told me what he was watching. I was watching whatever ball game, but it was on a ghost episode of Dawson's Creek. So
hey, that's kind of weird.
Maybe paranormal, maybe not. At 3 a.m. that morning, it was very creepy. Yeah.
It makes it extra spooky.
Yeah.
3 a.m. The witching hour.
It was.
Now, have you ever had people call in to the police department and for something that ended up being what could be paranormal?
Many times. Oh yeah, a lot. I actually done a TikTok on that yesterday or 2 days ago, maybe, because people ask me that all the time. Have you ever experienced anything? And yeah. So, as I said, this college campus is the majority of what we deal with. And there's a curfew and college kids have to be in by like midnight. And I don't know how many times I've gotten calls like one of the girls in the dorm saying like, the building across the road, I see some people in there or whatever. And so you go in and look, and that in itself isn't paranormal, but I don't know how many times like I have seen somebody with my own eyes. It's like run to the end of the hallway. So you take off running after them. They turn a corner, then you get to, and they're gone. And there's no windows, no doors, no exits. And there you are. The creepiest thing that happened probably, and that happened many times, but doing the same thing one night, I was walking through this building, a 3-story building, and from the 3rd floor, I could hear, it sounded like a party. It sounded like 10, 15 people at least. I could hear laughing, talking, singing, and I'm like, oh, I've got a good buzz tonight, very meticulously made my way up the steps, being very quiet, because on the 3rd floor, it used to be where they're kind of like their game common area, game room, pool tables, and that's where it sounded like it was coming from. And so all the while, I could hear all this going on upstairs, and even when I get to the door, I can hear it. And so I have a key. So I very quietly go up to the door. I put it in, turn it. I just swing the door open. Pitch black, lights out. No one's in there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm like, I
Yeah,
believe
the
I'm
party TV people.
yeah, yeah. 5-0. I guess they started screaming 5-0. I don't know, but
Yeah,
nothing. I mean, no ghost. Well, there may have been ghosts. I didn't see them, but yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff like that.
That's a cool story. I like that story.
Yeah.
Mhm. Like,
Well, I like telling it now, but I didn't like it at the time.
Yeah, I
well,
bet.
now.
Because at that moment you're like, here, it's like 1 a.m. I'm all alone in this huge building that's notoriously haunted, and crap, here I am in a ghost party, and
Ghost party.
I'm the special guest, I suppose.
Snacks. You're the
Get loud
entertainment.
enough, we'll get him up here.
That's our
Yeah.
entertainer tonight.
It
You
worked.
probably threw open the door and they were like, strippers here.
Whatever works, if they could at least have some donuts,
Right.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really.
Lord. Now I'm gonna get back to the feral people, because the feral people. Have you ever seen feral people?
I have not. And I actually wasn't even really aware. I mean, I had heard the term before, but when I started covering a lot of stuff out of the Smoky Mountain, people started sending me stories, and I started, researching it a little bit. And, reputable people, even alleged stories from like park rangers have claimed to have encountered these feral people, And, it sounds out there, and it is, but what isn't? But if you think about it, a national park, protected land, no hunting, no fishing, no ATVs, side by sides. What better place would there be? It's
Right.
protected. They're not going to be in there, doing construction, logging, things of that nature. So, if feral people or Bigfoot do exist, what better place?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you recall, like, off the top of your head, and like you said, you've done thousands, so I'm sure a lot of them blend in together, but is there like a story on the feral people that like jumps out that you can remember, a lot of the gist of?
Yeah, several of those. I was actually doing a podcast last night, and they asked me the same question. There's a few. One of the alleged ones that happened to a park ranger.
Mm.
This guy I went to, it was one of the remote parts of the national park, Smokies, to go check on a fire tower or something routine that they had to do periodically, which was a pretty good hike from where he parked his truck. And he said when he got back, it was just before dark, and before he could even see his truck, he could hear what sounded like someone in his truck. So he quietly, tried to sneak up, thinking a crazy person or maybe even a bear or something gotten in it.
Yeah.
But he said when he finally maneuvered around enough, he could see this totally naked dude, like very dirty. And this is kind of a common theme. The people who have claimed to have seen them, so they all kind of have a grayish, like malnutrition look, like they haven't, lack vitamins and minerals, whatever. This guy said the same thing, but he was going through the guy's truck, like looking just in the cab, just throwing junk. And then he, came up, weapon drawn, identified himself, and this dude just turned around and like ran over top of him and ran back into the mountains. And at this point, it's getting dark. But this dude gives chase. He chases him back into the mountains and goes a pretty good ways. And he starts radioing back for backup. And and again, I can't verify these stories. I don't know. But after he had went a pretty good distance, he said he realized, look, I'm all alone. I'm miles away from backup. They're en route to me, but they're miles away. It's almost dark. So he just stopped and began to listen. And then he said he began to hear what sounded like multiple people kind of surrounding him. And he realized what kind of predicament he was in.
Mm.
So he stood there, weapon drawn, and one of the other rangers radioed him and said, "You need to backtrack out of there very slowly and get in your vehicle and leave. Right now," he said, "I'm on my way." He said, "Just come to me." And allegedly, this other officer was more of a season, been there a long time. So that's what this dude did. He got back in his truck eventually and made his way and met this guy. And then he went into the spiel of, yeah, these are feral people. They don't tell you about it. It's real. They're here. Don't bother filing a complaint or a report. It is what it is. And, again, maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I've heard a lot of stories.
I don't know why they have to be naked.
Well, they can't go down to the Dollar General and get a pair of shorts.
Well, what are they going to do when it's cold? What do they put on?
Don't know.
Good question. Most of the stories, people.
That's a whole thing. You
We went from feral people.
Well, I have my rabbit holes about things.
In most of the stories, people claim that they have on just very tattered rags, almost like you maybe take an old bed sheet that's worn out, dirty, something like that, and
whatever they can find.
Right. I can see a lot of that's like, and there's some inbreeding. Clearly, there's like a whole family. I went through that YouTube.
Another rabbit hole.
Yeah. And so I know that there's families, and then there's some inbreeding involved in that, and so you start breeding in some weird stuff into some people, and then I could see how they would be considered, I guess, feral because they're not like. Socialized, especially if you got families that have been living out there for years and years and years and years and years, and they don't.
I've met some feral families.
See, yeah, I'm a feral wife. But I am, except I'm wearing my clothes. So, I don't know. I think I would be very. I don't know. The feral people, they scare me almost as much as dolls.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
And I don't like dolls.
Yeah, I don't like dolls either.
I don't either.
You can keep your dolls.
And like Annabelle is causing destruction all across the country. The Warrens said, "Do not take her out."
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Don't.
What's our viewpoint
Don't open it up.
That thing tour in any way.
We've had New Orleans. They had that plantation fire. They had 9, and they were Geminis, by the way. 7 or 9 escapees from a prison, and they were all Geminis. I love that part of the story. I'm a Gemini, and so is my wife.
It says a lot.
But and then what? Pennsylvania, their whole 911 system shuts down. And I'm not saying it's the paranormal. I'm not saying on anyone's tragedy. That's someone's family. And he was a good dude. We were friends on Facebook. Like, he was a good dude. He had a family, has a wife, kids, but I'm just saying, like, I'm
going to quote a lot of
the Warrens said, don't take her out.
Yep.
They said don't.
Yep.
And then here she is, out. And look at all the things that are happening. Something happened in Texas too. What did she do in Texas? There was I'm not saying she, I'm just saying what are the coincidences that just so happened. But, the little things like, put her back in the museum, get her blessed again, because she was blessed like weekly or bi-weekly by a priest that would come in. And now is someone doing that now?
I doubt it.
Is she? I don't know. And I never wanted to say that everything is a damn demon. No offense. I'm not trying to offend any demons. Okay, really. Don't come after me, bro. Don't come after me. Okay, like I'm not trying to offend any of them, right? But like, I just feel like we're too quick to call everything like Zach Bagans. Everything's like, oh, it's a demon. Oh, it's a demon. It's a demon. No, maybe he's the demon.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
Mm-hmm.
Start talking about
I can't say.
But maybe he's the demon. Like he thinks everything
not,
else is a demon, but maybe it's him.
But I mean, something like that. That's obviously like a way to make money off of something.
Sure.
Are you talking about Annabelle?
Yeah.
Or Zach Bagans?
But with the Annabelle thing, I mean,
Both
that is, I think you're kind of pushing it anyway. And you have something that kind of works, um, with it having a permanent location, that's at
Blessed.
least if you're going to open up things like that to the public, then at least they were doing it at least as responsibly as we feel we can without fully understanding everything.
Yeah, I mean
But to do this,
but who has to ride with her? Like I wouldn't want her to ride my
no,
Hell no.
No.
Nope.
no. But yeah, to do something like this is, I think it's irresponsible, and you're just after something that's.
If she is as cursed as she is said to be, why do we have her out on display?
Mhm.
We don't have Robert the doll out. And
Didn't
he's
he-
supposed to be bad too.
Didn't he get out recently?
He got out?
I think so.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to
hell.
research that. I mean, he's there, but I think he went away for a little bit.
Oh.
He went on vacation. He's like, dude, I'm tired of all these people looking
He's
at me like that.
He wants to hook up
He's
with
like-
Annabelle.
He's like,
He's
dude,
like, hey,
yells out.
you're looking pretty
No.
cute.
I'll be back.
Let's hook up.
I'll be back.
Yep.
Huh.
I hear she's in New Orleans. Let me.
Yeah, let's.
That's not
You know
that
what? Let's start
far.
some fires
Okay.
together, girl.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh,
No, I
That's
guess
a-
I don't claim to know why they do it, but I think it's probably like a lot of other things. At the end of the day, it comes down to money. I'm sure someone's making a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
That. I mean, I don't know that. I may be wrong in saying that, but usually
Well,
somewhere
some
down the
that would
line,
be
off of
that would
it.
be my first impression.
Yeah.
Now,
gotta
somebody
pay to see her.
maybe it's genuine.
Uh-uh. No. I will.
Maybe it's genuine in that they're wanting to open up the whatever to public view, or
right?
this is something we're doing I don't want to say a community service. That's not all that I mean.
Right.
But let's let people be able to see this doll. So I mean, maybe there's an element of that in it, but
Right.
I would say more than likely, knowing people, I would say more than likely it's, dude, we could make a ton if we grabbed Annabelle and took her on tour.
Yeah.
And,
And some people may have the right intentions. What you said, we just want to show the world. Here she is. If you want to see her, but it's hard to not think somewhere down the line someone's getting their pocket full.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know that. But that's where my mind goes.
that's instantly where my mind went. So
I mean, Ryan Buell came back around for that. Right, and he's been back around, but he showed himself. I think he's been doing well with that with Annabelle as well. But I don't know. I just feel like you're tempting fate when you start, parading these things around. Like, yeah, she's still in her case, but
that's a dimensional thing.
If it's a demon,
about
you're not going to keep it in a case.
No, it's like that show that was out a
like
while
the
back
Dybbuk
where they would
box.
catch the ghost or the demon and put it in a box with mirrors and then blow up the box. Did you ever see that? That's been probably 15 years ago. It was a decent. I love their equipment, but some of their ways of elimination,
Right.
which I'm like, was a little bit like, well, okay, yeah, we're gonna make a big explosion for TV.
Right.
If it doesn't want to get in there, it's not going to get in there.
Well, and if
I don't know. And it's like, you have these kids and they buy these Dybbuk boxes and they're like, I'm going to go on TV or on, some sort of social media, whatever, and I'm going to open this Dybbuk box. Bro, if you find something and it's sealed shut with wax, leave it alone.
Yep.
Just leave it alone. We got enough shit out here. We don't need anything coming out of that. Whatever was in there needs to stay in there.
Exactly.
It's like,
Mhm.
if you find something sealed in wax, somebody sealed something in there for a damn reason. Leave it. Don't let it back out. Like, whether it stays, I don't know. But,
yeah, at least that's the intent of it. But
it is.
Well, the way I look at it, there's enough darkness, evil, whatever you want to call it in the world. If there is some contained, leave it in there because we don't need any more of it.
no,
We don't.
not today.
Not today, Satan.
No.
Not today. Now, have you been to any of have you been like to Waverly? Have you ever investigated like Waverly or Octagon or any of the big places like that?
Not those in particular. No, they're again. See, I'm getting ready to launch my YouTube where I do long form like investigations, and I've actually been in the talks with some people with quite a bit more followers than me. We're going to be doing some collabs here pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I was recently at Lake Shawnee, abandoned amusement park in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
That place is very interesting. That's
It looks creepy as hell.
Did you camp?
I'm sorry.
Did you camp and stay?
No, they had their first ever. It was called Hunt Fest. It was hosted by a local paranormal group,
Mhm.
and it was like a 1 day event. They invited me to come as the speaker. Then we had a ghost hunt at dark, and
cool.
When you step on that property, you can feel it. I mean,
Mm.
it's different, and actually, there's a location just an hour and a half from my home. I'm getting ready to go investigate the old hospital on College Hill, if you're familiar with it,
Mm-hmm.
in Williamson, West Virginia. We'll be doing that soon. And like I said, I've been in the talks here in the last little bit with some people a lot bigger than who I am that probably going to be doing some collabs with. So some of those places may be coming up soon.
Oh man, that's awesome. I'm definitely have to watch out for that. So
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna hit one of the hospitals, make sure you ask for me.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
But yeah, I've been wanting to go to that
yeah.
abandoned. It gives me.
Well,
I've
we'll
read
swing by
stuff
and pick
about
him
it.
up and
I've
we'll.
read stuff about it,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, it's pretty interesting. But we did Octagon, and that was I was just the reason why that stuck in my head is because I was talking about it this weekend. So I had to talk about the mannequins. And I had to show the video of me.
Are you with the man again?
Yeah. I had to show. I was showing Ronnie and Brooke. Ronnie owns the hospitals, and I was like, "Have you ever seen that video of me with the mannequin at Octagon?" And he's like, "No." Kind of like, hold on. Yeah. But he knows Shannon, who was one of the people that videotaped it. He knows you're in it. But yeah, no, Octagon Hall's there's some really interesting mannequins in the basement.
Okay. Yeah, that place is on my to-do list, and Waverly, of course, that's like you have to go to Waverly. I haven't, but I plan on it.
He's done that.
Waverly was, and it's been, gosh, 15 years, I guess, since I've done Waverly.
Yeah. And then we went through the boycott for a while, and
yeah, Waverly is definitely worth the hype.
I've heard that.
Another good one that you may want to check out, and this may be a little far. Why not too bad?
Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
We know that. We've established that. But I would check out like the USS North Carolina in Wilmington too. That's a good investigation.
I've heard that my friend I talked about, Zach, he lives in North Carolina now where he works for Mr. Beast. That's where their headquarters is. And he's tried to get me to come down there so we could go investigate that one.
It's a beautiful area. You can hear this accent.
The North Carolina accent there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I would say other than the hospitals, and I put Harriman and Old South Pittsburgh on the same plateau. Even though they're completely different. Of course, Old South Pittsburgh has the history and it's been a paranormal bucket list location forever.
Sure.
The good thing about it now is the owners now are all about getting the information right. Instead of this is haunted by a serial killer or whatever. No, that's not right. This was actually a really good guy that so they're clearing it up. But
the hospitals, I had to jump on somebody on TikTok today who's spreading false information.
But yeah, so other than those two, Waverly is definitely one of the Battleship. We had good evidence at both of those.
Green Cove Springs is a good one in Florida. The old jail in Green Cove Springs. That's where I got called a bitch.
You saw that smile when she said that, right?
I did, yeah.
I did. I was in the lockdown, like on the death row side. It's a small jail, but they used to do the hangings like right out in front. And this particular room doesn't have a window. You look into the bathroom. So whoever was in that cell had to watch everybody take a shower and do all the things. But yeah, I said, does anybody here
Take a shower and
know
do
my
all
name?
the things, huh?
Just all the things.
All of them.
All of it.
You had to watch it. I mean, if you're in that cell, right? Because that's where you're facing. But yeah, that's where I was sitting on the floor in that cell, and I'm like, do you remember any of our names? You know, because I always say my name and whatever. And it said bitch, and I was like, well, that's not my name, but I can be. Do you know my name? And then it said bitch again. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop if you're gonna keep calling me that. Said it one more time, and I shut it down. You know, I'll own it for a minute.
At least
but
it was
then you're
consistent.
just being rude. Okay, one time is a compliment, but 3 times just being rude.
Right.
So yeah, that's a good one too.
I've heard of that one.
It's Waverly. I want to go to Waverly too.
Waverly.
Yeah, yeah. I want. That's what I want to outreach. For the most part, I've just investigated local type places within, fairly close distance. But for my YouTube, that's what I want to do. Even if I have to travel more, would love to do that. And but it's kind of sad, honestly. Living in Kentucky, I should have been to Waverly and Octagon, and a bunch of different places. But it's definitely on my to-do list.
And now Bobby Mackey's is no more.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And I just want. I mean, you didn't. It's still haunted.
I'm sure.
If it was haunted before,
Yeah, it's still haunted.
it's still haunted.
Oh yeah.
You don't make it go away just because you destroy the building.
No, the most active haunted house or house that is haunted I ever investigated was brand new.
Oh, I believe it.
And
we investigated that one that had we sat around the fireplace out back. It was only a few. It was like you, me, Jess.
oh, that was yeah. Oh yeah, the family went out back at the fire pit.
Yeah, that was a big old brand new house.
Yeah.
So it's the land. It's it's sometimes it's I bring home a lot of weird stuff, and so sometimes I pass them on to you.
Yeah.
That's a cat fight, I think. I don't know.
I hope
Or
it
my
was.
wife stepped on the cat. I think she stepped on the cat.
So it was a ghost. Nobody else is here.
Oh wow.
Oh,
TikTok.
Yeah.
I really have a wife. I've been talking to a ghost the whole time.
Yeah. If you get down in here doing some of the investigations anywhere, within an hour and a half of here, 2 hours, let us know. I'll come out and bring some extra equipment for you to play with. And
Definitely.
I don't know what all you got, but I'll bring. After 20 years, I got a bunch. So
I'm sure. Yeah, I've acquired quite a bit. Some of it I've bought and haven't even used. But the typical stuff: the Ovilus, the PS device, spirit boxes, REM pods, all the typical stuff.
Yeah. Yep. My favorite is still one of the voice recorder. It's probably 20 years old now, and it's almost impossible to get recordings off of.
Right.
But absolutely love my old Olympus voice recorders before they made it to where it was super easy. You just pop a switch and plug it in.
Right.
And I love those things. That's still my favorite piece of gear. It's just those old. I think now, even though you buy a new voice recorder and they say, this one doesn't have all the bells and whistles. And then, but the next 3 steps up have all the noise canceling.
Right.
And so you buy the low end because you want it to not have all that.
Right.
But even this is still like light years away from the ones we were using way back when.
The ones that the Warrens were using way back when, too. You look back at what the Warrens were
Oh,
using,
yeah.
like that's...
Yeah.
And
Oh, I would love to do it with just
cameras
cassette
too.
tapes.
The
and
thing is,
reel
like
reels.
digital cameras, you're not going to get the same. It's easier to fake a digital picture than it is to fake an old picture with
Sure.
the 35 millimeter
Or if you
or a
got a-
Polaroid or a.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's sometimes I see people's pictures they post and I'm like,
Oh yeah. Well, that's one
fun.
thing. That's a question people ask me all the time. Like, do you believe every picture or video that you post is paranormal?
You can't.
No.
You can't.
But you know, they don't want to be on camera. They send me their stuff. Here it is. Think of it what you want to. Maybe it's a ghost.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it's a, you know, I'm not saying it's this because I say it's this. And not around a paranormal TikTok or social media. So yeah, when I tell the story, I tell it to be spooky or scary.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that doesn't mean that I'm like sold on it. Yeah, this is 100%. This is what it is. But
No, but it gets people to watch you. It gets people interested. And then it
right.
gets people either to be dicks in comments. I watch so many people like, do you really act like that in real life?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, would you
terrible.
walk up to somebody in person and talk to them the way you talk to people on
Probably
social
not.
media?
It's like if
I
their
don't think
camera
so.
turned on every time they typed a message, they would probably talk a whole lot better.
Right.
Oh,
All these
definitely.
keyboard warriors.
Yeah, I actually, again, done a TikTok because people ask me all the time, how do you get monetized on TikTok? How do you, get followers? And I'm like, I can tell you how to do that, but here's what you need to consider that I didn't really. I've been in law enforcement for 20 years plus years. It don't bother me. It rolls right off I've been called, you name it, I've been called it, whatever. It doesn't bother me. But some people, I mean, I get the most hateful, hurtful, mean, just totally unnecessary. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Keep scrolling. But I mean, people, I think, and part of me feels sorry for those people because they must live a miserable life if that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a side of it. But at the end of the day, I say, look, you can say what you want because every time you comment, you make me money. And usually they'll shut up at that point, but so I welcome the hate, the love. It's all good. I don't mind.
Yeah. Well, and I mean the good thing about whether they're genuine or not, a lot of them are still good examples of.
Right.
And so, it is what it is. And with the nature of the beast, not that beast. But with the nature of video evidence, all that stuff is, like she said with the digital cameras, it's so easy to fake.
So easy.
Definitely.
It really is.
And
well, and it's also, and I hate to say that word because I say paradiola. Did I say it right?
Oh yeah, I get that.
Pareidolia.
Pareidolia.
I hate that word anyway. But you can do a lot. I feel like you can do that a lot more with digital versus you can with like real old school pictures.
And I literally get dozens of emails almost daily or messages, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and some of them are really convincing. Like I can't figure it out. Like, maybe this is real, but I would say the vast majority is like clearly pareidolia. People they zoom in. You find a face in anything if you look hard enough. Lens flares. I see that all the time. Spider webs in front of your Ring camera on your door.
Oh, yeah. I love the Ring camera.
Yeah. But I will say I have caught. Well, I haven't, but people have sent me some of the best stuff I've seen has been on a Ring camera or a home security camera. But in most cases, it's a spider web or light. Just people don't understand what lens flares are. And I don't try to burst their bubble. I'll just thank you for sharing.
Exactly.
That's cool. Thank you for reaching out. But every now and again, you will have those ones that are like, oh, what is it? I don't know what that is. So, and I actually have a few got right now that I received this week that I have still yet to figure out. I'll probably post those next week, probably. So,
oh, that's cool. I love the ones that you can't figure out because I'm not a big orb guy.
Right. And, yeah, me either. No.
And But every once in a while, I'll see like footage of an orb that I'm like,
if it doesn't move like a bug would, or like
Right.
it should with any kind of, then I go, But typically it's dust or a bug.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hate
yeah,
to burst
that's
everyone's bubble,
90,
but
99%
99%
of the time it's dust or a bug.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
every once in a while, it's like, okay, that didn't flare up like something hitting the IR would, or some hitting the flash would.
right.
That looked really weird. And then it may do something. I forget. I was just, well, I say just, it's been 6 months ago, so I don't remember what it was. But I was like, holy shit. Okay, maybe that's.
Sometimes, I mean, I have, because I've been doing this for a while, and I know when you get people send things and like, I really need you to look at this. This is something, and you're like,
Yeah.
But I had one who kept sending me orb pictures over and over and over again, and they were different shapes, and sometimes they had different color to them, but then would blow them up and be like, don't you see grandma, and I'm like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get it.
no bro, I don't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I see dust, and that you've blown up a picture so much that our brains are, I mean, that's the whole thing, is
You
our
look
brains
for patterns, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I don't see grandma knitting a sweater, and drinking a glass of tea. I don't see that. So no, I see
why would
dust. And why is your
grandma
house
be
so
knitting
dusty?
a sweater, drinking a tea in a little orb that's flying around?
Some people go, look, don't you see it?
She's
Look,
piloting it.
You see you see the tea on the table. Don't you see that? And I'm like,
No.
no.
My favorite was, I got one, and this is back when the TV shows would, if they weren't getting activity, back in the early days of, all the ghost hunting shows.
Sure.
And they would talk about, as soon as we entered the floor, the ghost activity picked up, and you see like the doors
dust.
open and the lights come on and all the dust going.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I got a family had moved into a gorgeous big house, and they were restoring it. And they sent me these pictures saying, we have to move. The spirit activity here is picked up as soon as we started doing, remodeling.
Sure.
And of course I was like, okay, well, remodeling, yes, that is a key,
Right.
theoretically.
Right.
All this stuff. Yeah, let me send me whatever you got. Let me put something together. And they sent me pictures. And in the family room of the home, they were doing the woodworking. So they had stall horses.
Yep. Yeah.
And all these stuff. And I was like, what you're getting is the dust that you're stirring up from. And they would not.
Will not believe it. Yeah.
No, because of how just adamantly the ghost shows pounded in.
Right.
That these are ghosts, and these are this color, so they're demonic, and this is, and it's like, oh my God, so here they've got their dream home, and because they've been lied to sell a show, they don't want to live there anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And and I have actually said this in several of my TikToks. I'll say, if you think you've ever encountered anything paranormal, you probably haven't. Because most of the stuff that happens, in my experiences, can be explained most of the time. There's those moments that I wish I could explain. I'd feel better. You know what I mean? But, I've seen so many people, as I'm sure you have too, every bump, every thud, every noise, every shadow, it's a ghost, it's a demon, it's Bigfoot, whatever. Yeah. And most of the time, that's just not the case. And, but as far as orbs go, I will tell this. This was very early on when I started doing investigations. I was in it was a gymnasium, basketball gym. And it was dark, and we were just walking through. We had Polaroid, so it's been a minute. This was 2000, early 2000s. And I remember in the top right-hand corner of this gym, I seen a blue like light flash, like an orb. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
I don't think so. But I took a Polaroid anyway and kind of forgot about it. Just went on, 20, 30 minutes later, we was going back through her pictures, and there was a blue orb in that Polaroid. So, like, that's the only one I can actually say, yeah, I seen 100%.
Well,
Like, I got a picture of it. I was like,
yeah. Well,
because your eyes will play tricks on you in the dark. You'll see things, but I caught this one on camera.
Yeah. Well, by definition of that type of energy, it is an energy that can be seen by the naked eye because it's producing its own light.
Sure.
And we know orbs like that exist because they can be duplicated in a laboratory.
Right.
So if you're in a dark room and you're taking a picture and you didn't see it like you did
right
before you took the picture, I would say you got your answer 99.999% of the time. If
Definitely.
you didn't see it emitting its own light,
right.
that's a cool story. I love hearing that you saw it, took the picture, and caught it.
Yeah, and that's the only time I've ever done that, and
I've never done that. So,
and it was a fluke in my opinion because I wasn't sure if I seen it or not. I thought I did, but I seen it and snapped it, and sure enough, there it was. So,
yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So that got me kind of like all tingly inside. Thank you.
Well, I do what I can.
Yeah. No, that's been my argument forever. Is, dude, did you see it? Right. And, back for having investigated through that craze, what I had to tell my investigators was, okay, I'm not going to get in a pissing match about, whether an orb's genuine or not. If you feel it is, then prove it to me by other means.
Right.
And then that gets kind of like the comment that I made about Bigfoot.
Right.
Who cares what God is to that point? If we're seeing it, then all this doesn't matter because we're seeing it.
Right. Yeah.
What we have seen is poop at the museum. It has really long poop, by the way.
Interesting.
I know what to look for. According to the museum, and it was perfectly straight.
That's odd.
I guess it's because it's so tall that it just has to kind of work its way.
Makes sense.
But I want to know who could guarantee that it was. Did someone take and test it or something and it didn't? I don't know. But it's on the Bigfoot Museum in North Georgia.
Okay. Well,
it's there for everyone to see.
Yeah. So yeah.
We didn't find it. We didn't come across
it.
We
didn't. No. I didn't pick it up and go, look, Bigfoot.
Look, Amy. And then no.
Yeah. So but yeah, with the orb controversy, I was just like, prove it to me by everything else. And then it doesn't matter if it's paranormal or not, because we got all the proof we needed.
Right.
And so that kind of calmed it down in my team because, why are we going to argue about semantics when there's so much stuff that we could be getting?
Right. Yeah. And that makes sense. But I will say recently, actually, one of my best friends sent me a picture from I believe it was his cousin's house. She had a home security camera. And I can't say definitively it was an orb, but what stood out to me was it moved very unnatural like. And when it came to the camera, there was audio and visual disturbances with the camera. Like you could hear the static and the camera even kind of moved. When it flew toward it. Yeah. That's one of the better ones that I've seen.
I would have a hard time debunking that.
Yeah.
Because it's energy, and energy would interfere with. Yeah. Dude, that's cool. That's cool. I like that too. Okay, I'm on the orb camp now.
Here we go.
Good orb evidence is awesome, but there's not a lot of good orb evidence.
That's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. It has to be pretty convincing for me.
Yeah,
give it.
Yeah, I'm the same way with EVP evidence, though.
Yeah,
because I think that you can get, and I think EVPs is probably one of, I won't say the easiest, but it's the simplest type of evidence to get. You don't have to invest. You don't have to whatever. But I've never done any kind of audio work on anything I've ever recorded.
Right.
If you couldn't tell what it said on the natural recording, then it wasn't worth playing with. I mean, let me rephrase that. It's not worth presenting.
Right.
You may want to, this sounds like it's saying such and such. So you can get in there and, around and try to figure it out.
Don't tell people what to hear.
No, and don't tell people what to hear.
Don't be like, it's saying my name. Listen. And then
Yeah.
they're listening for your name.
Right.
So just say, do you hear anything?
Yeah.
Like, what do you hear? That used to piss me off on Ghost Adventures. Like, I'm the one screaming at the TV. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you'd be like, don't you hear blah, blah, blah? And it's like, oh, yeah, yeah. And I'm closing my eyes, listening like I would regularly. And I'm like, I don't hear that at all.
No.
Yeah.
You just heard what you wanted to hear and what would be good for TV, and you said it. But no, just if you hear something that you think is something, say, hey, listen.
Yeah.
What do you hear?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've captured several good Class A EVPs, but a lot of the stuff is just breathy. Just you can't, and I won't say, that's saying my name or whatever. But,
well, if you play with it enough, you could almost make it sound like it's saying a word. So leave it alone.
Yeah,
and just go with the good ones.
Clip it and go.
The clearest one the first Class A one I ever captured, my brother and I. This abandoned building. Don't look at it. Just clear, plain as day, like you and I talking.
Really?
Don't look at it. But the creepiest one I ever captured, me and a couple of my buddies were in this building where I work, and it's most of the buildings I would say have a lot of paranormal activity. This one is the more sinister type building. Like if something happens, it's usually pretty bad. Like it doesn't feel good at all. But I just had my phone. We were just kind of doing a walkthrough. Honestly, wasn't really trying to do a thorough investigation. We sat in the stairwell. It's a 4-story building. I push record on my phone, set it down, and we sat there for probably 30 minutes talking. And we heard some stuff, but nothing crazy. As I review the audio later that night, like there is tons of breathy voices. Just you can't make it out.
Yeah.
But I will say, at one point as we were sitting there, out of nowhere, it sounded like someone with steel-toe boots stomped the floor right between us, which was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
But we didn't hear nothing else. And one of my buddies that's with me, he ain't all about the ghost stuff. He was like, I'm gonna go sit in the car, and we just like, it's all right, just calm down, we'll leave in a minute. Well, on the recording, you hear the stomp, which it wasn't as loud on the recording, and you hear him say, I'm gonna go sit in the car, and you hear a voice. It sounds just human, like no. It says no, followed by what you would say demonic or no, just a maniacal no.
Really?
Yeah. And right after he said, I'm going to the car, it's like, no. Clear, plain. As I tell this, chills are running up. It's one of the ones I was listening to it, and I was like, yep, we'll wait till morning and go do the rest of it. But, yeah, that one.
So, yeah, the first really good EVP we got was the voice of an elderly woman, still one of the clearest ones I've ever heard.
Right.
And she's going, it's wonderful.
Oh wow.
And it was like,
I have one that says my name.
Yeah, I don't like hearing my name.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And this house was a personal house that we went into. It was with that, other team. And we were in there, and there was a lot of masks. That's a hard word for me to say, masks. It sounds it comes out masks.
Masks.
From like Africa, like wooden,
like tribal.
Yeah. A lot of stuff like that. They had this one bedroom that they kept saying was where all the things were, right? That was happening and different things. So I'm in that room, and I'm standing kind of in the doorway of the closet, and you can hear me say, I just felt something cold blow on me. I'm like, where's the air vent in this room? Did the air kick on? And so you can hear us looking around for it. And right after, but when you play back the audio, when I say, did something cold just blew on me, you hear, Amy? And I'm like,
Oh.
oh,
Oh.
no.
thank you.
And it's the tone of it, and it's like, Amy? And it's so creepy. And I'm like, oh,
The doll's
There's like, does
Wow.
that voice sound familiar to you? No, the hell, no.
no, never.
No. I don't have
Wow.
anyone that talks to me like that or talked to me like that when I was young. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
My creepiest was going into a private home. Hadn't even started investigating yet. We had just said, I say we, my team, that team was on the front porch and they had just finished saying everybody's name. And he says, okay, y'all ready to go in? And you hear like him make contact with the door handle, like he's getting ready to turn it. And you hear, get a priest.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
so anytime I play that, people are like, why in the hell did y'all go in? I say, dude, like we heard it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And you probably would have gone in anyway.
We'd have gone in anyway. But yeah,
Sure.
it's our job.
Like,
We
it's
still
what
have
we
to go
do.
in.
Well, one weird thing over there, like I said, where I work, there have been at least 2 different occasions where people have said they have seen me. Like, the first time was like very early on in my career. One of my good buddies, again, like I said, one of our jobs, we used to have to walk through the buildings, turn the lights off, lock the doors. And it was actually the same building where I was talking about the EVP, the one we dreaded the most.
Right.
But this particular night,
building.
we pull up, me and one of my buddies. He was driving. I just got a snack, like a candy. I remember a Snickers bar and a Mountain Dew, at midnight. And he's like, you just sit in the car and eat, and I'll go turn the lights off. Okay. So he goes up to the second floor, and it's getting ready to storm. So on this building, you can stand on this side into the hall and look through the windows on this side of the hall, so you can see all the way down. But as he's turning lights off, he said he gets that feeling the hair on your neck stands up. He looks to the end of the hall. There's a flash of lightning, and he sees a silhouette of a woman, which a lot of people see that in that building. He said that was creepy, but he didn't think a lot about it. It was really quick. So he goes on up to the 3rd and 4th floors. And when he got to the 4th floor, there was stairs on either side. He came up this side and came down this side. As he started down, he began to hear footsteps follow behind him. So he said he stopped, and it stopped. He stood there for a moment. He started back. It started back. That went on like 3 or 4 times. So he said, finally, I stopped, and it sped up quicker. So he started running. And I witnessed this sitting in the car. He bolted out that door. And when he got back in the cruiser, he was like whiter than a ghost. And I was like, you okay? He said, not really. But he said when he opened that door, he seen me standing there. I had on a Class A uniform, all the shiny buttons, badges. He said, I seen you standing. I started to talk to you, tell you what had just happened. He said, you were there. Fast forward 3 or 4 years, same kind of incident. A different building, but a 1/10 of a mile down the road. Me and 3 of my friends, we were going to play a trick on one of our other. He was scared of everything, so we were going to mess with him, obviously. So
yeah,
we were in the foyer of this building, and on the second floor, there's just a railing. Like you could walk over the second floor and look over into the foyer of the first floor. So I had told my buddies, like, I'm going to sneak upstairs and I'm going to go around and try to mess with him some way. Didn't have a plan, but whatever. And what was odd about this night, the lights were off. It wasn't like pitch black dark, but usually the lights are always on. So I said, just keep him busy for a minute and I'm going to sneak upstairs. So I made the excuse, I'm going to use the phone or go to the bathroom or something. And I walk out, and as I start up the steps, it was like there was a wall up. I could not make myself walk up those steps. I wasn't scared before that. I wasn't thinking anything spooky, but I could not make myself go up those steps. So I just like, well, I don't know what's up, but I'm just going to stand here. When they come out, I'll jump out and scare them. 3 or 4 minutes go by. I finally hear him coming out, and I jump. Nobody even really reacts. But one of my buddies that was in on it, his eyes got about this big. And he was just, we walk outside, and he like gets a cigarette and lights it up. And I was like, "You okay?" He said, "Not really." He said, "Tell me you went upstairs." I said, "No, I started to, but I couldn't make myself. Something like this terrible feeling. I could not make myself." He said, "I watched you." He said, "I was out of the corner of my eye." He just, because I had on a pair of jeans, a white t-shirt, and a button-up shirt that was unbuttoned. I remember this. He said, "I watched you sneaking around the railing of the second floor."
Yeah.
And he said, "I even got Matt's attention so he wouldn't see you until you was ready to do whatever." He said, "But I watched you like you were sneaking all the way around the railing." I said, "I never went upstairs." And I cannot even put into words that feeling that I had, that I couldn't make myself go up there. I've been shot at. I've had to fight dudes 3 times my size. I could not compare the fear that I could not make myself go up those steps. And so, I don't know what's up with that, but that's happened on at least 2 different times.
Yeah, that you say that
You're
happened
not
to me.
supposed to see your doppelganger.
Well,
So
yeah. So
something
thank
was
goodness you
protecting
didn't go
you.
up. Yeah,
Something was
I didn't.
protecting.
yeah, but I know that feeling on it. It was an and it struck me as completely weird. We were doing an investigation of a private home, and you open the front door, and there's stairs that go up, and then a landing and a bathroom right there. You can see it from the front door.
Sure.
And I had to pee bad.
Right.
And I took a step into the house.
You peed your pants.
No, I didn't pee my pants.
That would be me.
But the teams had come out, and we investigate with 2 teams on
Sure.
one investigate. One goes in, does everything, comes out. They don't talk. Other team goes in, does everything, come out, and then we talk.
Sure.
It was in between that downtime or the 2 investigations. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go pee. I opened the door, took a step in. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going up there.
Yeah.
And my assistant director was like, "Dude, the bathroom's right there." I was like, "I'm not going up there, and you're not going up there with me to pee." And but yeah, it was that feeling where nothing really went on in that house that night,
right,
as far as the investigation goes. But that is probably the biggest feeling of dread. I walked through Waverly by myself to get through to one team to another to take them batteries.
Sure.
I have never had that sense of dread, and there's no way in hell I'm going up to that bathroom.
It's the same. That's exact same way. It's and in this building, I had been going in this building since I was a kid. My office is actually in this building today, right now. But like, I had been up those steps 1,000 times, and I wasn't even thinking about ghost or
yeah, you're thinking about going to scare somebody.
When I got to those steps, it was like there was a wall. I could not physically make myself go up those steps. I just, like you said, the dread I can't put into words, and I couldn't do it.
Maybe my doppelganger was up there going to the bathroom then.
Maybe.
You're not supposed to see your own doppelganger.
No,
that's what I've heard. That's
a cool story, though. I like that one.
Yeah,
you guys actually had some really good stories. Of I don't know. You gave the feral story. What is probably, and pick the category just of your favorite stories that you can remember? It's just one that jumps out from everything that you've done. Do you have a favorite that you can tell?
You mean like one people have submitted to me for me to tell on my TikTok?
Yeah, just something that they could find on there, like an example of something that's been submitted that you've covered. And then if you have another favorite story from your investigations or whatever, we can tell that too. But
sure. Dude, there's so many, but one that, and again, I can't tell it because so many run together, but I remember one sticking with me for so long was about this lady who, and it just kind of started out of nowhere, but every night when she would go to bed, and me trying to tell it now, I'm not doing it justice. It's not going to sound scary, but she would wake up. It went on every night for, I forgot how long, but this entity like standing at the foot of her bed, and it would like get closer every night. Like it started out at the foot of her bed. The next night it was a little bit closer, getting right around the bed, until eventually it was like on top of her, like holding her down on the bed.
Uh-uh.
And again, I feel terrible because I'm leaving out some scary details, but she said it was like choking her out. And this happened several nights in a row. But the only way she was able to finally break free, she began praying. She's like saying, "In the name of Jesus, get off of me."
Uh-huh.
And it left. But there hadn't been no kind of like tragedy in the home, no deaths, nothing supernatural until that point.
Yeah.
And she said it hadn't happened since then. So and I wish I could remember all the details because it was a lot creepier.
I don't know. That's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but honestly, there are so many, and I read so many every day. People send me, and I don't post a fraction of the ones that people send me.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I read so many, I tell so many, and I research stuff. Like, dude, my mind's like it's doing flip flops. I can't. Everything blends together. But
Well, I know.
yeah.
People ask me about stuff. I'm like, I couldn't tell you where that was, but
Yeah. Well,
happened.
I told someone one day, I was like, I can remember what color shirt I had on this day in 1985, but I don't know what I had for dinner yesterday, So my mind's just warped, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my mind's been warped.
But...
We spend a lot of time in the dark talking to ourselves.
Yeah, that is true.
Well, I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. You do so many investigations, you hear so many stories, like everything just kind of like, oh, where was that? Who was that was with me? Or, this happened in this town, or no, it was that town. So you do it so long, everything. I mean, there are those pivotal moments that you don't forget, but just the, like, oh yeah, that I forgot about that even happening type of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's an interesting life, I guess, investigating this stuff. You never know. I mean,
yeah, I'd say it never gets boring, but ghost hunting gets really boring.
It absolutely does. And in my experience, a lot of times it happens when you're least expected. You go into this location, oh, it's going to be, super crazy. Nothing happens. Then you get in the car to leave, and something's in your back seat, or just something like that.
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
Yeah. Or you think you don't get anything, and then you get home and you have all kinds of EVPs, and
Right.
that you weren't.
Well, the house that we went into, where I said before we even opened the door, we got the voice saying, "Get a priest."
Sure.
That is one where it was an elderly mom or grandmom that lived in the house, and she was hearing voices. And as they talked about it, I was like, tell you what, I'll come in and investigate it from a paranormal standpoint, but only if you take her in to have her looked at. And of course, I phrased it more professional.
Right.
But I was like, I'm not convinced that she's not mentally hearing voices.
Right.
And they agreed, and they, showed that they had taken her to the doctor. I was like, okay, now we'll address this way. We're handling both ends of the equation.
Right.
And we went in, and I remember leaving that property saying, well, guys, at least we got an investigation in. It gave us some good training on doing, our EVP sessions a little differently or whatever. But I remember having that discussion, trying to kind of put frosting back on the cake because nothing happened.
Right.
We got home, and that is still to date the most EVPs we have ever recorded on an investigation.
Wow.
It was like popcorn EVPs. And they were in different languages. They were,
wow.
It was crazy.
That is
busy with EVPs. Little counter note. Some of the listeners will have heard this before, but they eventually got her on medication. The voices that she heard in her head went away. They asked us to come in and do another follow-up investigation because of all the EVPs we recorded. Guess what?
Right.
We didn't record any EVPs.
Wow.
So
That's
she was
amazing.
hearing voices mentally in her head, backed up by medical professionals.
Mhm.
We recorded paranormal voices with our voice recorders. She gets on medication. The voices go way out of her head, and we don't record EVPs.
That's amazing. Wow.
So it was,
That's insane. Wow.
that's one of those.
But then you
Wait,
wonder, like,
what?
like a poltergeist kind of an idea.
It
You
could
know,
be,
like
yeah,
the kind
like
of theory
that.
behind poltergeist.
Yeah, that she's by
Like,
projecting that she's hearing voices. Maybe she's
right.
and she
Right.
spoke Spanish, and some of the voices were in Spanish. So that's a good
Wow.
theory.
It is. I'm sure you guys, you're familiar with the term. What is it? Egregore? Egregore? Are you familiar with that term?
Uh, I
I'm
do.
not sure if you pronounce it egregore or egregore, which is the belief of, which I talk about this on some of my videos, that essentially, like, if enough people combine consciousness, like if we believe that this house is haunted and we talk about it, our
Oh,
combined,
oh,
it manifests into whatever it is that you're saying, a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater, whatever it is, people begin to see that
I
because,
hadn't heard that in forever.
yeah,
And
it's,
then
it's been,
all of a sudden, everybody has it. Everybody's seeing it, and
Right.
everybody hears it.
It's a good song, by the way.
It is.
right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did what in the 50s, 60s, 70s. They did that study where they agree, and this is back in in the 70s. Everything was like hooey fooey and woo, and the missing arc of the whatever, and the every week they had another like supernatural mystery show on.
Right.
But during that era, they did a study where they went in and they did just that, where right down to they had its personality that they projected, its name, its origin,
Wow.
and all this stuff. And after a while, there developed a haunting that way. And again, how do you prove a haunting? But take this for what it's worth.
Right.
That apparently had, when it would communicate, it would use the name Scott or something like that, which they had given it. It was British, which they had told it that it was, and all this stuff. So, that comes right back to that of,
Right.
is it, mass hysteria, mass
Mass
conjuring,
hysteria,
mass whatever.
Right. Yeah. There's so much we don't understand and don't know. But, that's where, again, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, where I go look through it through faith. Like, okay, well, if that really happened or can happen, what you just described, I believe demons are. I'm not saying everything you hear and see is a demon. I'm not trying to pull a Zach Bagans and say everything out there is demonic, but I do believe they're out there and they are in the shadows. Okay, so
100%.
if we start that theory, Scott, the British dude, whoever, who else might know that? Okay, so that's who we're going to manifest. That's who we're going to be. We're going to be the British guy, Scott. And that's a theory. I can't prove that, and I could be totally wrong. But again, that's why it's good to have different views, different viewpoints, and
100%.
And you have to be willing to learn. I mean, when you just close down your mind so much, I'm right, everybody's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to faith, I'm concrete in what I believe for that. But like, there's so much we just don't know about the other things going on. Now, the veil's thinner than I believe most people realize. Whatever you want to call them, ghosts, demons, whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's interesting you brought that up, because that's to have you present something with that much energy to where it's assumed that it created an entity.
Right.
How easy would that be for something to step into that role that you created?
Sure.
And I mean, you did half the work for it.
Well, I mean, going back and look at Annabelle. Like Annabelle, the original story about Annabelle is that, they let her in, stay in the doll, said she was a child, and that she wanted to come and stay in the doll and all the things. No, no, we don't. We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that.
Right.
But again, it's the same. They present how they think you're going to be comfortable if
Right.
you're allowing something.
Right.
When they've been here a whole lot longer than we have.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so
Yeah.
they know what they're doing. They can sound just like Nanny.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's
So
what I say. They're not going to come chasing with horns and a pitchfork. They're going to come to you with what you, like you said, what you're going to be comfortable with.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great Grandpa Joe. So you could be comfortable. It's just him watching over me. Is it?
you
So
don't. Yeah, that's we
You
had
don't know. That's why you don't give it a name.
no.
If you have a
Right.
ghost in your house, you don't give it a name.
Well,
Right.
Wendell, and he's told the story on the show where one of my investigators, matter of fact, he's who handles all of the interviews for setting up our private home investigations and all.
Mhm.
We did his home, and he was pretty much certain that it was one of his parents,
Mhm.
and we talked and talked and talked, and finally he was like, I don't know that it's one of my parents. I'm like, you're exactly right. That's and as soon as you start, Mom, hey, why don't you, whatever,
Right.
Dad, hey, we're going on
Right.
vacation. Why don't you come with us?
Mhm.
You
Yep.
know, that's why
Mhm.
imaginary friends, holy crap, they scare the piss out of me.
Me too. Me too.
Because you're like, the mom
Mhm.
goes out and she sees the little kid playing out by the swing set talking to
Mhm.
something, so she
Yep.
makes 2 sandwiches so she can encourage her kids
Right.
imagination, walks to the door and says, honey, would you and your friend like to come in for lunch?
No, we don't invite the friends.
Nope.
What
We
the
do
hell
not.
did you just invite in your house?
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard some scary stories like imaginary friends people have sent me, and
Probably big on staying in the
those are
house.
always the spine tingling ones. You're like, no, we don't want to talk about that. So,
No,
but
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
My imaginary friend taught me how to tie my shoes.
really.
Now, if it's imaginary in my head, how did it teach me how to tie my shoes?
That's a good question. I didn't ever hear. I don't think I ever had an imaginary friend, but my first paranormal encounter, I was 4, and I can remember it as clear as I
Oh, I'm going to ask you.
remember. So my grandma used to babysit my cousin and I, who were the same age as before we started school. And I remembered it was a beautiful spring or summer day. I remember we were on her front porch, probably 10 o'clock in the morning. Beautiful sunny day. And we were just playing. And so in my grandma's house, it was an older house. It had an upstairs, but it was basically just used for storage. They didn't really live up there, stay up there. But at the landing at the bottom of the steps, she had a big toy box where she kept all the toys for her grandchildren. And so we're on the porch playing that day, and I remember there was a toy in that box that we wanted to play with. It was a ball. I remember it. And I said, I'll go get it. And so I walk in the house by myself, wasn't scared. I go to the toy box. I lean over, digging through the toys, and I can remember the hair standing up on my neck. Like I just, at that age, something like I felt somebody watching me. And so I look up, and standing, leaning over the rail, there was an old man in like Victoria era style clothing, like a suit, tie, glasses, top hat, leaning over, looking at me. And I can see him plain as day. And honestly,
Yeah,
no, don't be offended. He kind of looked like you as far as the facial hair and the glasses, very similar, kind of like what your look.
right.
And I can remember that clear as I can remember. Yeah, there you are. Uh, but I can remember that plain as day. And I don't know why. No one died in that house, but that's well, that house is actually on the same campus where I work now, though. There's only 2 private homes on that campus, and that's one of
Really?
them. Yeah. And it belongs to my family. My mom was actually born in that house. I grew up there.
That's
So,
crazy.
Wow.
yeah.
So didn't go far off for work, huh?
No, right now I'm about 6 or 7 minutes. I can be at work. So yeah, it's close. But I don't really remember any. My family owned a funeral home growing up, so grew up kind of in a funeral home.
Right.
But I don't remember anything. I had a reoccurring nightmare for years, but nothing like ever really happened to me. But nothing really happened again that I can remember until I was like maybe 12, 13. I live right next door to where my mom and dad live. My mom passed away a couple years ago, but literally probably about 50 feet from where I'm sitting right now. My bedroom growing up, I was in the walk-in closet. I had a huge closet. I was in there one day going through my toys again. My mom and I was the only ones home. She was outside. And, I'm 20 minutes into this looking for this one particular toy. And in my left ear, I'll never forget it, something went boo. Loud, clear, intentional boo right in my left ear. I spun around thinking, oh, my brother, my mom, nobody. I go through the house looking, thinking somebody's in there. I look out, my mom's still outside, nobody else is home. But that was the plainest. And I tell people that voice was, it had almost like laughter in it, like it was just messing with me, like boo. It knew what it was doing, and it was like right in my ear. And like, dude, that scared me. I was 12, 13 years old, and
yeah, I think that would scare you.
Now that I put that together, I believe I'm gonna stay out of toy boxes because they're a reoccurring pattern there. But,
toy boxes.
Yeah, no more toy boxes.
I
didn't think about that.
No dolls. No toy boxes.
Yeah.
Speaking of dolls, Rhonda has put a new doll
in the hospital. No. A hospital is not the place for dolls.
It's in the nursery. It's on the nursery floor. It's on the second floor.
With a raggedy.
It's not in the same room as the clown with the teeth porcelain doll, but
do you like clowns?
No, I don't. Poltergeist, man, it scarred you.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ruined. Yeah. Not to mention, like I grew up, and at one point my parents, I think I was like 2 or 3, and they put me in one of those bozo costumes with that you had to like put yourself, that tied in the back, the plastic suit and the mask that stuck to your face. So imagine that. And like I was little at that age. I lived in Arizona, and it's hot. It's hot. And you're breathing that poison plastic. I'm sure it's poison. It's gonna.
I remember that smell. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Giving us all freaking some sort of skin cancer. The fact that you say I remember
the smell, like, that alone says, you wore your share.
Yeah.
It God, and you just sweated in there. It was like, remember how people used to dress themselves up in those plastic suits so they could sweat while they were at the gym?
Yeah,
that's what that shit was. And then if you had to use the bathroom, you had to completely come out of the whole thing.
Yeah, no.
It's like a jumper.
You're stuck.
It's like
just like my night looking at that bathroom saying I can't go. So, have you, speaking of clowns, have you ever seen a clown, like picture or well, predominantly, have you ever seen a clown figurine where you can see its teeth?
Not that I can think of.
Come on down to Harriman.
Come to Harriman. We saw this creepy little clown doll.
Rhonda loves it. It's right here.
And no, that's the new doll?
No, that's the old one.
Oh, that is the old one. Yes.
I don't know that you can make it so it works up close, but I can't.
Let me get where I can see the camera.
There it is.
Oh yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that.
You can see its teeth.
Yeah, nay.
Yeah.
It's like
this is the new one.
Oh, that's even worse. Okay, you're already in a haunted hospital. Why do you need to come into a room and see this? Come on.
Back out. There we go.
I mean, that's why it's haunted. I mean, you can't. That's straight out of hell. I mean, you can't have it.
If it wasn't haunted before, it is now.
It is now. Yeah, that's terrible. Wow.
Yeah.
So we are coming up at the. We still got a couple more minutes, but I do want to give you an opportunity to let people know where they can find you.
Sure.
And so that way, if we get to talking, we don't come up on the cutoff, and we hadn't shared that yet. So, let people know where they can find your channel and get to know you and see some of the cool stuff that we've seen.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as the Supernatural Sleuth. That's you type in the Supernatural Sleuth, you're going to find me. I have Twitter, X, whatever. I don't really use it a whole lot, but TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the Supernatural Sleuth. You type that in, you're going to find me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep, what's that picture of?
I don't know. It's a picture I took when I was there that night, but I can't. I can't.
Sorry, I looked down and saw this.
I'm trying to figure out what that is.
What's this?
I don't know.
It's obviously in the hospital, but yeah, that.
I don't know what
just
that
so
is.
I mean, so we're not talking about something that's off camera. That
I can't. I don't know what that yellow.
Oh yeah.
Is right there.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
It looks like it made like a shadow.
It did.
And what's that behind it?
I don't know. But again, it was taken on my phone. But the shadow is interesting because I'm not making that. I'm not doing that.
It came out of that hell. It came out of that hellish doll. That's where that came.
Well,
out.
that was the picture before it because she scrolled past it and just sat down her phone.
Right.
And I happened to look down as it was going black and saw that, and I was like, "Okay, dude, what's that picture?"
I got nothing.
But
oh wow.
But yeah, I look forward to definitely diving back in and just doing a deep dive on some of your stuff because it'd be hard to see it all. So
yeah, I mean, I share a little bit of everything. I talk about ghosts, Bigfoot, cryptids, faith, my faith, a little bit of smarts because that used to be a thing for me personally. Like I kind of juggled where do these worlds don't mix until I kind of had the revelation of they're actually not, to me, not disconnected at all.
Right.
Faith, Christianity, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, it's all kind of one. They're intertwined more than what you realize.
Oh,
so I talk about it all,
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool. And I think discussions like that need to happen just because it gets people's, gears turning. And,
sure,
I'm a son of a minister and, my faith has evolved into, more open-mindedly.
Sure.
And, to me, in my personal faith, it's not against anything that I grew up being taught. If anything, it gives more power to what I was taught when I was a kid. And, of course, I'd say as a kid, but, all the way through.
Right.
But, it's so I think that if you open your mind a little bit and we don't try to limit the things that we don't understand, we try to put it into our cubby holes of what we can understand.
Sure.
And I think that we tend to take more away from God than we need to.
Right.
If in my belief God created everything, then everything here is of God.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what we're talking about.
Sure.
So, so I think that you cover everything. I think that's really kind of refreshing.
Right.
You're genuine to who you are, which is also refreshing.
Thank you.
And you don't have to throw something on the plate every week because you're just talking about things that people have sent you, so you're staying true.
And you're not all arrogant about it, and you have quite the following. So, which it's nice when people don't get all like, because we're all just doing the same thing. We're all just trying to figure it all out,
I have
So I
yet to
could-
figure out why anybody wants to watch me. I tell people that, like, I was like, if I can get on social media and get monetized, and I have, I don't know, probably 650,000 followers across my social media. I was like, anybody can do this. I've somehow I've got everybody fooled. I don't know what's up, but I don't know why
it's
people.
just a genuality.
Yeah, you're genuine and you have that good storytelling voice too.
Well, thank
you're,
you.
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
I compare my voice to cornbread. If cornbread could talk, it would sound like me. So I don't know. So some people say they watch it when they go to sleep. I'm like, I don't know if I like that or not. I mean, am I that boring or
yeah, I watch
whatever it counts as a view. So I don't care.
Yeah. Just put it on auto so it like picks your next one and your next one. So yeah,
absolutely.
You sleep with them every night then.
Absolutely.
You made it weird.
Well, no, there was a podcast out that said "Come sleep with me" or something. It was this guy who would take different stories and he would put he would intertwine the next sentence, like the first part of one story and the second part of the same sentence on another story. Okay. And so as he talked, you could almost understand what he was talking about. And it would be just enough that your brain would start to follow it, and then the sentence would change.
That sounds horrible. My ADD would be on fire. My ADD is like, wait, what? Where? Who?
I thought that too, and I played it, and I was like, this is really, and what was out cold. But the name of his podcast was something like "Come Sleep with Me," because he's saying, "Yeah, I'm going to put you to sleep."
Right. Wow. I may have checked that out.
Yeah, dude, he will put you to sleep. So
I may have to erase that out of my search history on my phone. Come sleep with me.
Sleep with me.
Yeah, something else might come up, but
that's all right. We all talked about it in front of our phones now, so it's going to start showing up on our Facebook feed.
Definitely.
Come sleep with me.
I can't help.
Yeah,
I can't help but feel like I'm going to be scrolling through Facebook or TikTok, and I'm going to see a bunch of evil clowns here in a little bit. So thank you for that.
Probably.
With teeth, all with teeth.
That's a given.
Yeah,
that's a given.
And we've talked about dolls quite a bit of the night, so yeah, one's going to show up in our, and maybe a cat. But thank you so much for being with us tonight. It was amazing.
It was a definite pleasure to talk to you, and I hope that we can find something when you're in this area or something, or
at the hospitals. Ask for me.
I'm going to be doing some long form content. That's definitely on my list. So I hope to make it there. So
yeah.
It was great to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Great to meet you all.
Have a great night and be safe out there.
Thank you. You too. You guys take care.
All right. We'll see ya.
See ya.